What up, everyone? You know who I am. I'm Jack Slater, aka the Comic Outlaw. Yeah! And we're chilling right now, chilling like a super villain, making that killing. Dollar stacks and bills. Everybody's got to pay for them thrills. Whatever you do, man, whether it be a cold Dr. Pepper or one of them funky ass bottle of pills. But you know what I'm saying. Anyways, we're doing a review on a classic show. Yes, I said classic. I'm talking late 80s, early 90s. Quantum Leap. I'll show you the back. Now, for those that don't know what a Quantum Leap is, here, let me put this in the camera so you guys get a little. If you don't know what Quantum Leap is, Quantum Leap was a show about a man named Dr. Sam Beckett. And he had a theory that your life, and here I'm just going to use this, that your life isn't just a straight string. It's jumbled like this, and it's connected with everybody else's life or everything that happens in that time, since time exists at once. See, people often see time as one straight line, but it's not, because we live in a linear lifetime, a linear existence. Linear means that we, from birth to death, that we have one path, but time is everlasting. The concept of time is everlasting. Time is everywhere, between the past, present, and future. For us, we see it differently, but for time, it's just an illusion because everything is happening at once. So theorizing that one can move from his own lifetime from day to day, he steps into the Quantum Leap Accelerator, an invention of him and his friend Al that they've been building. Desperate to prove funding before they pull the plug and scrap everything that they were going to do, he steps into the Quantum Leap Accelerator and vanishes. This man awakes to find himself lost in the past. And he sees images in the mirror that aren't his, because he's in someone else's life. He's leapt into someone else's life in his lifetime. He wakes up in the 50s and he's an Air Force pilot, and he has to save this man's life. And his only guide, his only friend, I'll get you a picture of him, is Al. Al is connected through Sam through brainwaves. And he appears in a form of a hologram that only Sam can see and hear. So Sam is off writing and fixing what it, once went wrong, with Al kind of his spiritual guide. And I love this because it explains the story so well, because people ask, well, if he's a scientific genius, why doesn't he just invent his way to go home? Well, the thing is that when you leap into someone's life, it Swiss cheeses your memory, because you get memories of their life too, as a switch. And the person, the soul, leaps into Sam's body, I guess, into the Quantum Leap Accelerator chamber. So they kind of switch places like a body switch. Which is weird because they said he vanished. But I think they were talking about his spirit that vanished. Because later on they have people leap into his body that Al talks to. Like there's this wonderful episode where Sam leaps into the body of a beautiful woman, and Al is a notorious, nefarious pervert. Like married 4 times, 5 times. And Al sees the body, okay? He doesn't see Sam when he leaps into, and he was just mesmerized. Like his best friend leapt into the body of one of the most beautiful women that he ever seen, that he had a mad crush on. So it kind of fucked with him a little bit. There's so many good things that this show brought to the table, and a lot of it had a lot of adult themes too, and it just seemed good for the time, you know what I mean? Because a lot of stuff wasn't doing this, where it was sci-fi, drama, comedy, and they managed to mix all that in with the idea of someone or something guiding him. And they never said directly what it was. He, him, her. And also there's a crazy computer, because Al has this concept, and it sort of looks like a cell phone, or what a cell phone, sort of like one of those older cell phones, because there weren't cell phones back then, called Ziggy. And Ziggy is just this wild computer that kind of does these calculations to sort of help everyone out. And you find out that Ziggy's not a he, but a she later on. So. But Sam kind of keeps leaping from life to life. And it's interesting, the stories that they tell. I mean, he leaps into the body of a football player that has to keep a lab from exploding. He leaps into the body of Elvis Presley. He meets Buddy Holly. I mean, he does all this stuff. That's what the great thing about the show is. You never knew what it was. He leapt into the body of a mob guy, and it was a mob story. Or he leapt into the body of a mother, and it was more of a family story. Or he leapt into his own body when he was 16. Just to win a big basketball game in hopes that he could prevent his brother's death, in which he leapt into the body of a black man named Magic, who was in his brother's platoon, and he managed to do that at the cost of Al's freedom. Because Al was a soldier in Vietnam, and he lost his wife because he was taken prisoner, the one person that he actually loved, and that's why all his other marriages and everything else failed. And instead of saving Al, he saved his brother, and Al gave him the go-ahead. See, this story, there's so many different ties to it if you watch it, but it's also about friendship, brotherhood between these men, and what they shared together. This was their whole dream that they built. And if you got the opportunity to put right what once went wrong, would you do it? They actually answer that. There actually is an evil leaper. You see, this show has so many different stuff. They even have a bad side that does wrong, or to put wrong what once went right. So the show tells both stories, both sides. And this show is so wonderful because, like I said, you never knew what you were going to get into or what he was going to do. And Al providing comedy relief, a little aid here and there. And the interesting thing is, like, small kids, dogs, and like certain things can hear him, even though he's a hologram. So a few times Al does save the day. And it just made the show better. There was even one where they switched places, and that was all kinds of crazy. I'm trying to give you broad strokes on this show because I actually want you guys to watch this. And if you do buy the box, I'm gripping onto it really good because this is a piece of shit. Okay? Like, it's great to have all the shows, but it kind of sucks when they put them in these little paper containers. You know, it's hard to bring the DVD out, and they get stuck. They're easily torn, you know. But I'm grateful to have the series. The series was supposed to go on, but it got cut off on season 5, so they had to scramble for an ending. And I'm not going to give away all the ending. But let's just say Sam does a favor for Al, a big favor, and then disappears, never to be seen again. And that's where it ends. There's been talks about bringing this show back, which I really hope they do, because a lot of it's still relevant now. You can leap from place to place, life to life. Imagine, because the cutoff point for them was like 80s, early 90s, you know what I mean? But imagine it now with the show so much bigger and in a wider scope. They could go to events now like 9/11 or this and that. You know, the different events, the oil crisis, or just little things that have happened in our country. Or even back further. There's one where they went back to the 1800s and they couldn't figure out how it happened. The possibilities for a show like this are endless. And even now, in our time, it would be something worth watching even better. Because the effects for them were like the shit. If you watch this, and given the time frame that it came out, it was good. Really good for the effects. So if you want a good show with a lot of soul into it, a lot of thought was put into this, a lot of people love this show, I highly recommend it. I mean, you get a grab bag of different stuff. Like I said, you could be in an action thing one week, or in a drama the next week, or a detective thing the next week. Or you could be a blind guy that plays a piano in front of all these people and he has to save his girlfriend. There's so many different ways to tell this story. That's what made this show so unique. It wasn't just one thing. It was many things. And at the core of it was just a man trying to do right by people. A man that was just pure Boy Scout, and his friend, his brother backing him up every step of the way. That makes a good show. That makes for good storytelling. So if you want something that tells a good story, I recommend watching Quantum Leap. That's my review. That's what I think. I'm going to step off my motherfucking soapbox right now. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm the Comic Outlaw. Hit me up. Subscribe on YouTube, man. Spread the word, brother. Spread it. And as always, I'll catch you on the flip side.